Well, by now, you know that one of the world's biggest companies had $1 trillion wiped from its value overnight. That's about a fall in about 17% of on Wall Street last night our time. And that is the biggest one-day fall for any company in history. And this is why, because the AI wars are certainly heating up. You have ChatGPT that everyone knows about. Now you have DeepSeek, who may have just found a way to do it a lot cheaper. And that is where we are at this morning. We're waiting for our market to open at 10 o'clock and we will see falls. We'll check in with Ed Boyd in a moment. Let's check in though first with Daniel Ives, who's been a tech analyst on Wall Street for the past 2 decades. Daniel, thanks so much for your time. Where do you think this all goes now? We've talked about censorship in DeepSeek and whether, it will be taken up, but the underlying tech and being able to produce this generative AI cheaper is where we're all focused, aren't we?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of facts that need to come out here. I mean, I think there's a better chance of me playing in the NBA than them doing this for $6 million. So I think there's ultimately that's going to be one of the issues. It's China. You got to take it with a pound of salt. I think the street's reaction today was a way overreaction in terms of Nvidia, in terms of these AI stocks. This is not denting the AI revolution. It's a good model. We've seen it over the weekend in terms of playing with it. But in my mind, in no way does this really change that U.S. tech will continue to dominate this AI theme.
Now, that's really interesting. So why do you say that is? Because Silicon Valley has certainly been leading the way. We know that generative AI is enormously expensive and energy intensive. Now, apparently, this Chinese company with 200 staff has come up with a way to essentially do it with less chips, if I can put it in layman's terms. Is that correct? So a far cheaper way to do it.
Well, and that's part of the issue is that, I think there's a good chance that they used a lot more chips than they're talking about. Because if you look at the actual model and how it's built, it's an open source model, and you're going to have cheaper models. That's a positive for overall AI use cases. But if you look at ultimately how they built this, Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, that's going to continue to ultimately drive the enterprise use cases.
Yeah.
This is just one small piece. And I think the biggest takeaway here, the U.S.-China cold tech war is going to continue to play on. It's a shot across the bow. But in no way do I view that this is a Sputnik moment or, some sort of major change in AI.
So, Daniel, if I could read between the lines of what you're saying here and perhaps put it a little bit more bluntly, is that the opacity of China and the way this company operates means that we don't really know. And they could, in fact, be fibbing about how cheaply they're doing it or how many chips they're using.
Yeah, you could argue it's possible, hypothetically, that they're using 30 to 50,000 Nvidia H100 chips. In that case, 6 million is just a small fraction, right? So when you think about the overall CapEx, Microsoft's spending 80 billion. Meta's spending 65 billion. They're well aware of what DeepSeek's done here. So it just speaks to there's a lot more information needs to come out. And that's why I just believe this overreaction. Covered tech 25 years, I think probably a top 3 sell-off that we've seen in the last 10 years.
So what about all these expensive data centres that are being built? We're doing it here in Australia. We saw Trump announce less than a week ago that there would be almost $1 trillion spent on new data centres right across the United States. Even if a DeepSeek is doing it cheaper, as it says it will, are these data centres still going to be required?
Yeah, just to put it in terms, let's say, you have a large enterprise in Australia that's going to be building this out. They're going to need 100x the amount of scalability, even if they go past, call it 200-300 users on an enterprise. And that's where you need data centers. If me or you are going on the App Store, going for DeepSeek and doing just like a ChatGPT, that's one thing. The enterprise scale is a total different. And that's why $2 trillion of AI CapEx will be spent next 3 years.
Right. So, I mean, where's this headed then? You say it's a market overreaction. Does Nvidia start to climb back over the next couple of days and weeks, do you think?
I think it's a golden buying opportunity. I mean, I think when it comes to Nvidia, when it comes to overall big tech, and I do think over the coming weeks and months, as more come out about DeepSeek, I think it's going to look a lot less glorious in terms of some sort of Albert Einstein moment, the way it's been depicted today. And that's really our call. That's what we've been handholding investors through. And look, it's going to continue to sort of play out, but this is in no way change this in fourth industrial revolution the way it's heading.
Yeah. Thanks so much for explaining it all to us today. Great shirt, great accent, Daniel. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.